Hey YouTube, Brad Browning here. I'm sure most of you guys already know this, but I'm a relationship and breakup coach from Canada. And today in this video, I'm going to share with you some helpful tips for rebuilding your relationship with your spouse. Now, before I get started, I do just want to quickly say that no marriage is perfect. So even if it feels like your relationship with your spouse is crumbling, you can still single-handedly save it. And if you want to know what your chances are and how likely it is that you'll be able to save your marriage, pop on over to my website, marriageguy.com/quiz, and take the free online test tool that I've put together there. And once you take that quiz, you're also going to see some personalized advice and suggestions based on your quiz results and what you've answered in the quiz. Again, to take the quiz, it's marriageguy.com/quiz. Okay, let's get into the important stuff. The first and perhaps most important thing to note is that rebuilding the relationship with your spouse starts with you. Now, I know this sounds cliche, but it is true. Since there's likely a lot of issues that are going on between you and your spouse, recognizing how you personally negatively contribute to the relationship is a crucial first step. Because once you do that, then you can work on yourself and become basically the best version of you possible so that you are a positive asset to the marriage. Now, to do this, ask yourself where the problems really lie in your relationship, or what things that you might have done that have caused arguments or pushed your spouse away. For example, maybe you have a pessimistic streak that comes out far too often, or maybe you nag him or her, your spouse, about all the little things around the house. Whatever it is, pinpoint some of those problems that you're the cause or at least a contributor to, and make an effort to work on them. I mean, once your spouse sees that you're working on yourself, he or she, and the marriage, he or she's going to be a lot more inclined to actually work together with you to rebuild the relationship. Now, the next thing you're going to want to do is avoid setting high expectations. Now, I know this can be hard, especially when your imagination, gets the best of you. But if you do want to work on saving your relationship, then it's really important not to set unrealistic expectations of your spouse. So in other words, basically, don't expect him or her to be someone they're not or do more than it's reasonable to ask. Now, sure, I mean, you may love the idea of your spouse getting involved in some of the things that you like to do, some of your hobbies, or stepping up their romantic game or whatever it is. But again, you can't change, you can't expect your husband or wife to change overnight, right? You can't expect them to become someone they're not. So simply put, one of the most important things when it comes to rebuilding the relationship with your spouse is to avoid setting the bar too high. Because when you create unrealistic expectations, that's only going to ever lead to disappointment. Which actually really brings me to my next point, which is basically asking your spouse to change. Now, the problem with asking your spouse to change, there's really two problems. First, if your spouse does change, it won't be a genuine change because it wasn't their idea in the first place. They weren't really motivated to do this. It's because you've asked. And when that happens, the changes probably won't be permanent. And before you know it, you're going to end up right back where you started. And the second reason, asking your spouse to change, it's probably going to lead to some resentment on their part. They're going to resent you for asking them to do that. People in general just really hate it when change is imposed upon them or pressured on them. And asking your spouse to do so is not going to help the situation. Even if things, like I said, on the surface seem to improve at first, unless your spouse is changing for themselves and on their own accord, then it's not going to do any good for your marriage over the long term. Now, instead of asking for change, visit marriageguy.com/quiz and take that free online test that I mentioned earlier. And as I said earlier, your quiz results are going to give you an insight as to where you currently stand with your spouse. And it's also going to offer you some personalized advice on what to do next and your next steps towards rebuilding the relationship. Now, the last point, and one of the most important, is to respect your spouse's space. Now, I know at this point it may be hard not to smother your husband or your wife or to beg for their attention. And that's especially true if you feel like things are slipping away between the two of you. But as much as it may seem like a good way to reconnect with your spouse, it's definitely not the right way to go about things. Now, instead, it's really crucial that at this point you give your spouse lots of time and space. Because when you do that, they're going to have the chance to reflect on the relationship and you're going to ensure it doesn't make matters worse. Now, what's even better is if at this time you're busy working on yourself and your aspects of the marriage and doing what you can to make positive changes, then your husband or your wife is going to start to see the person that they first fell in love with back when you first met and started dating. And when that happens, it's often enough to entice him or her to work on rebuilding the relationship along with you and get them to buy in, basically, which in the long run could be what saves your marriage. Okay, there you go. That's 3 things right there, guys. I'm going to keep this short and leave it there. Hopefully you've learned something. If you have any questions, of course, leave a comment below the video. I really appreciate the feedback, and I look forward to answering your questions and hearing your feedback. And thanks also to everyone who's liked and subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate the support. That's it for now. See you guys next time.